Good morning again. Cooking, cutting up, keeping it real. Today in my kitchen, I'm getting ready for a tailgate for the Wake versus Duke game. And so we are doing chili beans, cornbread, pimento cheese sandwiches, and I showed the homemade pimento cheese earlier, so if you want to see that, scroll back. But you gotta have something to eat. Just saying. So I wanted to show y'all my favorite recipe for best chocolate chip cookies. My mother used this recipe growing up, and it was kind of our go-to bacon comfort food. It is in Granny's Farm to Table cookbook. If you have one, it's on page 68. If you don't have one, you can go online at cookandcuttingup.com and get yours, your copy. Anyway, chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna mix this up just a little bit today, though. I'm going to use some different flavors of chocolate chip cookies, but the basic recipe for the cookie part is the same. So I wanted to show y'all that. Good morning, Brandy, and good morning, Pat. I'm going to tilt this down. Oh, hey, Paula, and thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to start mixing this up. Now, before I went live, I went ahead and cracked my eggs and put my vanilla and my water in there, but I'm going to read the recipe to you, so if that's something you want to write down, you can listen to this vlog back and jot it down. It is 3/4 cup of shortening, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, or you can choose to use vanilla bean paste, either one, 1/2 teaspoon of water, 2 eggs, 2 1/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, which I use light. You can choose to use dark, totally up to you, and 1 package of semi-sweet chocolate morsels. So that's the basic recipe, okay? So if you want to follow along, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to mix up in my mixer my shortening. Some people use butter in theirs, and I use butter flavored shortening for mine. I have found that using butter, which is delicious, it kind of makes the cookies spread out more when you bake it. So I stick to the shortening. There's a little piece of foil left on there. Let me get that on. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to add my sugars to that. 3/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, and I use light. Again, if you like dark, use dark. But this is what I do. Okay. 3/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, light brown sugar. Love your videos and devotions. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to add 3/4 cup of white granulated sugar. And I'm going to turn my mixer on and get that incorporated. Now, this is a quick recipe as far as mixing up goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. Looking good, girl. I know you're well. Thank you. I appreciate that, Karen. I stayed with the blue plan because that's what I know. And if y'all know me well, you know I don't do change well. And the blue plan was working for me, so that's what I stuck to. I won't be following it today. Obviously, this is going to be one of those days that I'm not going to go completely berserk, but I'm not going to be anyway thinking about dying. It's going to smell great in your kitchen. Yeah, I can't wait for this. These are the cookies that I always choose to bake, like when there's snow on the ground. My boys grew up eating them. I grew up eating them. I was thinking about this recipe this morning, and I think the last really bad spanking that I got at 16 or 17 years old, I was making these. And I chose to yell at my daddy, and I don't know what, the devil just overtook my brain or something, and he tore my tail up. You people that are from my generation know what that means. Some people today don't know what that means, but I mean tore my tail up. And I deserved it. I'm going to add 2 eggs. I've already put my 1/2 teaspoon of water in here and my teaspoon of vanilla, just so I wouldn't forget it. So I'm going to add that in. Good morning, Lisa from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Well, good morning. And good morning, Debbie. And hey, Miss Lily, good morning. I'm going to mix that in. Y'all, last week when we traveled to Clemson, it was so funny when we went in the gate, after you go through the metal detector and all that. Let me grab a spatula. The lady that was checking us said, "Hey, aren't you that cooking lady? I follow you on Facebook. She said, I just love your cabbage. I was so flattered. Who knew? Okay. I'm going to add in, I've already sifted 2.5 cups of flour, my soda, baking soda, and my salt into this bowl. Okay? I'm going to add that in half at a time. I've got my oven set at 375, preheating. So you're going to bake these on 375, and I set my timer for 8 minutes. Now you got to watch your gauge on that as far as how your oven cooks, but I like to cook mine just done because some of my guys like to put them back in the microwave when they eat them one at a time and warm them up and have them kind of warm. So I don't want them to be overly cooked. I also use parchment paper on my cookie sheets. And on my cookie sheets, the other thing is I don't use the real thin cookie sheets, the cheaper ones, if you will. I don't mean that like, anyway, they need to be hardy enough on the bottom that they're not like that super thin metal, because then your cookies are gonna burn, just so you know. So that's what I do, okay? What are you baking? Debbie said, Debbie, I am making the best chocolate chip cookies for the tailgate today. Now, after I get this batter mixed up, you could use this cookie batter for any kind of cookie you wanted to. I mean, you could add whatever you wanted to it. Peanut butter chips, butterscotch chips, chocolate chips, pecans, nuts, whatever. But this is a good basic one, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, let me get that mixed up. And I have already, the recipe calls for a bag of semi-sweet morsels, chocolate morsels. So today, I'm gonna put in there some Heath Bar morsels, also some white chocolate, because that's baby boy's favorite, and some semi-sweet chocolate chips. That was just my choice. So I put it in this measuring dish so that I could measure out 12 to 16 ounces, because that's what the bags are. So anyway, into this, I'm going to add that. Listen, I'd rather bake and cook any day of the week, all day. I love to cook because I love to eat baked goods. Let's just face it. I do. It's my downfall. Okay, it's definitely my weakness. All right, let me get that batter off of that stir thingy. I'm gonna move this out of the way and grab my cookie sheet. What I meant by the cookie pan is it needs to be kind of a hardy one, like not too thin. I have some of those, plenty of them, that I use for other things, but I don't use them for my cookies. So be careful with that when you're baking cookies. I also line mine with parchment paper, okay? Now, I'm gonna use my scoop to make sure mine are even. And I'm gonna put them on my cookie sheet, just like this. Give them a little room in between to spread out and not run together. Listen, I could eat just the dough. I love the dough. And I've done that live before, and people will say, what about the eggs? Well, you know, I know that there's precautions with that, but in 39 years, I have never gotten sick from that. Of course, I didn't come out of the womb eating cookie dough, but once I did start eating cookie dough, I've never got sick from it. I'm just saying, I'm sure there's people that have. I'm not one of them, thankfully. Listen, I've learned after 6 years of vlogging live on this, doing recipes, that I have to kind of cover all my bases. Because when the videos start circulating, I get all kinds of comments. All kinds. Mostly positive, which is great. But I get all kinds. Sure do. Have to put on full armor sometimes to read them. It's okay. Everybody's got an opinion. You know, you hear that saying, it's just like behinds, everybody's got one. And we do. Okay, this is going into a 375 degree oven. I will show y'all a picture of this when I'm done with them. I'll post one to Instagram, which will also post to the page, but I'll also post one underneath this particular video so you can see what they look like. But that is is my rendition of best chocolate chip cookies. And I just added some different flavored chips today. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope it's something that you can use in your kitchen, especially with holidays coming up. Great for kids to be in the kitchen with you to do these too. And to eat them. Right? Cooking, cutting up, keeping it real. Y'all have a wonderful day. And we will see y'all. Bye.